In this video, we'll walk you through the tools available in Scrite for phonetic typing specifically in Indian languages. When you launch Scrite, you can notice in the toolbar of the main window the current active language and an icon right next to it. Click on the icon to see the language menu. As a writer, you probably want to work with just a few languages. We suggest that you open Language Settings dialog box and remove languages that you do not actively use. Once you've done that, you can now switch to any of the languages in the menu by either clicking on it or by using the keyboard shortcuts listed in there. For example, to write in Kannada, you can use the keyboard shortcut Alt and K. By using keyboard shortcuts, you can quickly switch languages. There is even a special shortcut, F6, which you can use to cycle between active languages. The default built-in transliterator is almost phonetic. Sometimes the correct transliteration may not be obvious until you look up the alphabet mapping table and figure out the right combination to use. If you prefer using phonetic transliteration, then you can configure OS input methods with languages in Scrite. On Mac, for example, we can open Settings, Keyboard, and edit text input sources. Here, we can add phonetic input methods for the languages of your choice. Please note that if you add InScript or QWERTY layouts, you may run into surprises. We recommend that you use phonetic transliteration option only. You can add text input sources like this for as many languages as you prefer. Make sure that the options Show Input Menu in Menu Bar, Show Inline Predictive Text, and Automatically Switch to Documents Input Source are turned on. You can similarly configure input methods for various languages on Windows as well. Open Windows Settings, switch to Time and Language, Language and Region page. Click on Add a Language button and type name of the language you want to add in the dialog box. Once you find the language, click Next and install the language pack. As the language pack is being installed, click on the three dots next to the language and click on Language Options. Scroll down until you see Keyboards. By default, an InScript keyboard would have been added. We recommend that you add a phonetic input method and then get rid of the InScript keyboard to avoid confusion. Windows also shows a language switch menu in the status bar where it lists all configured input methods. Make sure that you can notice your language in that menu. Once this is done, you can return to Scrite and open Language Settings. Notice that Scrite would have automatically mapped input method for languages to the newly added text input sources in your OS. For languages that don't have a text input method configured in your OS, Scrite will continue to use the default built-in transliterator or the keyboard layout of the default language in your OS. Now, when you switch the active language, Scrite will automatically activate the native input method for that language in your OS. This time, when you type, you'll be able to use a far simpler phonetic transliteration. Now, if you prefer to use third-party apps like Nudi or Baraha with Scrite, then we recommend that you disable Handle Language Input Method Switch. This will cause all input handling to bypass Scrite and directly make use of these third-party apps. Hit the F1 key to pull out the Help Center and type Language Support in there. Hit Return to open the user guide for the topic in your browser. We have a complete chapter dedicated to language support in our official user guide, where all nuances of language support are described.